please join me to welcome Anthony on stage.
I need a mic. Since it's 8 minutes, I'm definitely setting a timer. Right, hello everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Anthony from Encode Club. This is a whistle-stop tour where I try not to insult any partners or clients about building a developer ecosystem. I'm British, not French. French surname, very, very British, from London. I run something called Encode Club. We're a developer education community. Some of you might have done our events before, hackathons, boot camps, accelerators, helping people advance their career in emerging tech, Web3, and AI. And there's a nice, fluffy pitch, which I've already said. This is mainly aimed at protocols with lessons, if you're a developer, that you should take if you are trying to advance your career in Web3. But broadly, it's lessons from having worked with many, many protocols over the last 5 years, seen all the good, bad, and ugly, and how they should actually be building their developer ecosystem. Most do not follow these tips. Some, the very successful ones, absolutely do. So 2 perspectives, 75% of it is the protocol. Hopefully the most useful bit is, if you're a developer, how knowing this and what protocols do and don't, how should you adjust your strategies accordingly. So first, this is kind of a stupid question. Why should you build an ecosystem? Most protocols do try and do it. Some don't. It's actually not the thing you necessarily need to do if you're a protocol. There's kind of a token incentive thing here. You can be very successful as a protocol with a very high market cap without really ever engaging a developer or having anyone build anything like particularly good. Look at meme coins. But there are meme chains. There are chains who don't really try and do it at all. That's because, fundamentally, you've got to ask yourselves a question with Web3 in general, but particularly with protocols. Is the product the token, the gambling asset, or the protocol itself? Given the number of users in Web3, often it is actually the token. So if the product is the token, and you're a founder who knows this, you're probably going to optimize for pumping that, and that is not the same as building a developer ecosystem. Building an ecosystem is hard. Fundamentally, what you're trying to do is create value. Value is startups, things that themselves have lots and lots of value. That's hard. If you're a founder who managed to create your own startup, your own protocol, that was hard enough. To try and seed others, particularly during your token vesting, might be pretty hard to do. But it's clear that the long-term win, if you want to build a protocol that sustains its market cap, that actually fulfills its technical vision, its technical promise, you probably need to build an ecosystem. But this is hard. You're fundamentally betting on people to become full-time developers on your stack, on your technology, being your evangelists for you. So here's basically a strategy, so to speak. Fundamentally, you need a narrative and the tech. Don't always need the tech, but fundamentally you're going to need a narrative to developers. And narrative is not the same as good tech. There are many protocols who perhaps are very good at convincing developers. Maybe they're a fork of something popular, but don't fundamentally have anything technically brilliant. And some have phenomenal tech, but are terrible at talking about it. But broadly, here's the 8-step guide that protocols should follow, but do not follow. Step 1 is you've got to build the tech. This should be obvious. Lots of protocols might launch a token without building the tech, so how the hell is anyone going to build on it? That sounds far more exciting than this. One is you've got to build the tech of your protocol. I'm sort of assuming protocols do that for free. 2 is decide the narrative. You'd hope when fundraising the narrative is clear. The narrative is being, why should you build on my chain? Most people don't, though, because building something technically elegant that might make a token look particularly interesting is not the same as, this is why I, as a developer, would bet my career on it and build a startup on it. It might be a very long-term vision for the future that you raised on that is not something that people can necessarily build on now. But step 3 is assuming you do have tech and narrative, you need content that matches that narrative. And content is things for developers to sink their teeth into. Events like this, ETH Prague, things where people can engage with a particular set of themes, particular set of challenges, and build on it. And this is hard. Code tries to work with protocols, our longest term clients, to do just this. What is you have a technical pitch you want to make to developers, what is the actual strategy, the cadence of events, the way you want to engage the developers, the incentives you had that matches that narrative. And again, it's a very hard thing to do. Assuming you've got all these things right, you've got the tech, you've got the narrative, you've got a content strategy, an event strategy, now you need to build an actual strategy to, on the ground, acquire developers and startups. Again, pretty hard. It's doing events like this, it's doing your own events, it's doing online events, and deciding which ones to do is a pretty hard decision. Some protocols are very aggressive. The Ethereum community, most of its success probably has come from an outstanding community approach, led in most part by decentralized groups like this, ETH Prague, and ETH Global on the hackathon side, who did it on their behalf. Other protocols don't have that luxury. They have to be more aggressive and centralized if they're going to acquire developers and startups. So this is an event strategy with clear progression between events. It cannot be a scattergun approach. Solana have done it extremely well, the Solana hacker houses, the Solana online hackathons. It's not random, it's clever. I know for a fact, because we work with them a lot, they have a list of every developer in their ecosystem tagged by GitHub. They know what events are going to help increase that figure and increase the quality of developers that they have tagged. It's a very clear strategy. And cadence becomes the most important thing, and this is what most protocols usually fall down on, that actually it's not about the event itself, it's about what comes next and how many events there are. We found it often takes maybe 4, 5, 6, even up to 10 events for a developer to become fully acquired by a protocol. And I'm kind of using also the Electric Capital report. It's fantastic if you haven't read it, of full-time developers to define full-time developers, but it probably takes like 10 events. And so like 10 events might take 2 years to do. So your event strategy has to be 2 years long. And then you've got to execute that strategy, which is trivial in a way, but very hard, absolutely, to do so. Then you collect the results, then you nurture the teams, and the end goal is you need to fund these people. If you are a developer here and you're betting your career, you need to be funded somehow. You're going to be a founder or going to need a job. There needs to be funding, and ideally you want external funding, VC funding, to come into place. And if you do this well, you'll get lots of positive externalities. And you could expect, if this goes really well, the better ecosystems, the Polygons, the Solanas, the Ethereums, lots of good protocols, minimally, a few very good protocols, but value creation that sustains a token price and an ecosystem, and minimally you're going to have a core set of evangelists. So I have 45 seconds for the developer side. You are making bets on ecosystems. Maybe a lot of you bet on the Ethereum ecosystem or instances of the Ethereum ecosystem. I think you should identify the ones that are the high cadence ecosystems, the people who actually know that it takes 10 events to acquire you and have adjusted their strategy accordingly, because they'll still be there in a year, 2 years, providing funding and opportunities where others may not. This is the most important thing. You should look for fundraising data. This is the key barometer of if an ecosystem is going to be able to support you in the long run. Are things getting VC funded, like right now or in the next 6 months? Things like Dove metrics historically, but if you just Google crypto fundraising rounds, this is the key indicator. So we use it to look at ecosystem success and ecosystems we want to work with at Encode. And you should play a high cadence, high curiosity game, which anyone attending events like this, especially if you're not native to Prague, is already playing this game. So in conclusion, Centers are misaligned, duh, it's crypto, tokens. If you're a protocol, you need a clear event strategy that is almost certainly 2 years long and has cadence and progression of events more than anything else than 1 or 2 high quality ones. And unfortunately, the results will post-date tenure, that most people, as life cycle in a startup and a protocol is 2 years long, these results might take 3 or 4 years. So you may not even see the fruits of your labor. Again, incentives disaligned. But consistency and cadence on both sides is almost certainly the way forward. And again, it's hard to do it in crypto because we are so short-termist naturally by the vicissitudes of token price. And I've got a minute over time. I will quickly shill stuff. If you like Encode events or you want to do more events, we have lots of events. We have an EigenLayer hackathon going on now, a Web3 AI hackathon, a Brussels hacker house with a Web3 AI day, restaking day, and a modular DeFi day, and lots of boot camps where we train hundreds, thousands of developers every quarter where you can get the most thorough training you'd expect in Web3 and not pay a single penny. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anthony, for the speed run. With that,